Hey, good weekend, everybody. This is Doc Severson for the ReadySetCrypto OMNIA trade of the day for Sunday, the 17th of October. All right, the good news is we have Bitcoin 60 grand again. Once again, we have reclaimed the all-time highs, or very, very close to it. The bad news is we have a very mixed market, as we've done throughout most weekends. I also am anticipating to see a little bit of a pause here in the markets, even though there's a wild excitement about a futures-based Bitcoin ETF, which we've been looking forward for the last 3 years or so. All right, top-down analysis, starting with my North Star, which is this monthly chart on Bitstamp, which shows a lot of activity all the way back to the end of 2011, which is the longest chart that I can find on here, and it shows the primary uptrend on a log scale monthly. And so this North Star kept me from becoming overly bearish during the little correction that we had. I guess it was a big correction, actually. I mean, it dropped from 60,000 down to about half that value. But when we put it on a log chart, it doesn't seem to be as much, right? So it keeps us from overreacting to those things. We have reclaimed the highs, still a primary uptrend. The volume is tailing off, I think has something to do with China as well. And I've heard a lot of people talking about, uh-oh, look out, the volume's tailing off as the price is going high. That's a volume divergence. But quite honestly, I've seen for the past 20 years, I've seen markets melt up on declining volume, and there's no limit to how high it can melt up. Or should I say, it can melt up far further than you think it can. So all looks good here, making lower highs or higher highs and higher lows. Let me correct that. And I do want to see the price at least poke its head above to make and confirm that higher high. I don't think at this point we're going to see a bull trap show up with a marginally lower high set up. And then, I mean, this would be a worst case scenario is to see something like that happen. It could happen. I don't think so. I think there's a lot of momentum behind the bulls at this point. Shorts are on the run. Let's move down to the weekly chart and we'll go back to a normal linear chart. And we use the linear chart here to understand the trend and what's happening. So the trend, again, I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but this is what kept us as objective as possible. We did have a downtrend on the weekly chart, which was just a pullback on the monthly chart. However, when we set up with the higher low here, higher high, higher low, this one was especially important for us to set the trap for this higher low, which set up right around 40,000. And then we have exploded since that point, driving up more than 22,000 points to the upside over the last 3 weeks. It's been extraordinary to watch this. It's almost as though this market is behaving by the rules of technical analysis again. And that typically shows when we have markets in quiet and trending behavior. Quiet and trending behavior is only shown during bull markets. Bull markets are more linear, they're more predictive, and they basically do what they're supposed to do. Now, when we had this market in corrective back in 2018, it did everything that it was not supposed to do. It would drive up to a nice high here, and then it would just lose its lunch. The bottom would drop out. Every rip was sold to the upside, and it was tough to watch. Even when we went through the second round over here into 2019, it was just tough to go through because every rip was sold and it gave you that capitulation sense. And finally, we did get capitulation here in March of 2020 as everybody said, that's it, I quit, I'm done with this. And that always marks the lows. So we had looked for capitulation all the way along here. We really didn't get it until we had the pandemic and then boom. So everything's looking good. The price is just slightly below the all-time highs, which is just an inch shy or so of 65,000. So we're getting to that point. All's good with the trend. And at this point now, let's add the energy component to this as well as the price and volume. So the energy now on the weekly chart, and this is going to move over again in about 11 hours. We're going to get the next week to print. And I think we'll probably be getting into exhaustion here pretty soon. Now, as you can see that sometimes the weekly chart will go deeply into exhaustion when we're in a primary trend, and we'll see how much this exogenous factor of a Bitcoin ETF drives this. But this is where I start to get into caution. This to me sets up very nicely for a cup with handle pattern. So if we consolidate up here, and we can look for the depth of this being, let's just say 30 up to 65. So that's about a 35,000. It's about a 35,000 depth of this cup. And if we append that onto, let's say 64,000, man, we're awfully close to the magic figure of 100,000 Bitcoin. Now, it's not going to happen all at once. This will happen in stages. First of all, we have to see this thing build back energy, but it won't take that long. And this is kind of the good news, because if we go back out to the monthly chart here on linear, we have a lot of energy, because this has just been a monthly consolidation pattern. It's doing its job. So it's building up energy. And I think as we get into the month of November, this should go even higher, unless we have a huge breakout before that point. So this is all working out nicely. So we have on tap probably a 4 to 5 week consolidation pattern at the highs. This would make the most sense for the price to stall out up here, maybe trade between 56,000 to 65,000 in this range, consolidate, build the energy back again, set up the breakout. Again, that's technically what I would hope would happen, because this would be the most controllable. This would throw the most people off the scent, because if you see people, or if you see the price starting to consolidate down here and maybe work itself into a downtrend, you will have all of the bears coming out of the woodwork saying, see, it can't break out. I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to fail. And they will drive the negativity out through the roof, as the trolls always do. And actually, this is necessary. It's necessary to have the bears stoke up fear to generate the most short interest, which gets squeezed out on the breakout. This is why we need the bears. So don't ever write into a Reddit, subreddit, and say, damn those bears, I wish the bears would not even exist, because you're showing your stripes when you do that. You got to have the bears to have a two-way market. Okay, daily chart on Bitcoin is looks fine. It's hard to say anything other than that. I thought we would stall out here at about 58,000 or so. It has not done so far, and we're just reaching into the all-time highs. This is grinding higher, and this is a great example of rule number 3: descending patterns break to the upside. This was a higher low, higher high. There's your trap entry right at 46,000. Nice move, building up energy again, doing a good job. Again, this, I think if we have this combination consolidation up at this level between, say, 58 to 66,000, this will do a world of good and will allow the eventual breakout to go for much longer, instead of trying to break out now and probably getting a false breakout, getting hauled back down if it doesn't have enough power to execute that move. So everything with BTC is good. On a technical basis, nothing to apologize for, nothing to warn you of. Everything looks really good right now. I would just execute patience and look for your entries. Look for your entries on pullbacks at this point, or sell puts below where you think support is. Ethereum is looking okay. This is starting to take on the look of an ascending triangle pattern, because we're starting to run into these significant higher lows. It's a very slow pattern. Ethereum is really, at this point back in May, it was leading the markets, and it's really kind of stalled out. Although I would say that it didn't reach as deep in the correction. The correction was much more controlled and exited the correction much faster, but it kind of got ahead of itself. And I think at this point it could use from a little bit of a pause. Let's look out at the monthly chart. The monthly chart says, hold on there, cowboy. Need a few more months of consolidation, just now coming out of exhaustion. The weekly chart kind of says the same thing. And this is where I'm getting that sort of look here. This is more of an ascending triangle look, kind of a sloppy pattern to that, but this is a big consolidation pattern. We should eventually get a big break above 4,000. And this will go, I mean, the roughly the upside target for this is, let's say that this pattern starts at about 2,000. It's roughly a $2,000 measured move to the upside, putting the target about 6,000 on this. So hopefully that still happens. I know Ethereum still has a lot of institutional support, although there's a lot of the crypto knowledgeable are aware of many more platforms that are out there, such as Polkadot, and are much more supportive of those at much lower prices. So that's driving some of the demand away. But honestly, you know, everything is working pretty good. Now, here's Solana. And we'll stay with the RSI Laguerre here to do energy analysis. Solana, we talked about this one. I said, don't chase it. Wait till you get your dips. You can look for dips back down here. I'm not sure that they're going to happen at this point. I think maybe 120 may be about as low as this thing's going to go. It's just consolidating in a very tight fashion. That's the weekly chart. The daily chart, you can see this triangle much better. Just kind of wandering around in this, building up energy. The energy's there at the daily chart. It's not there yet at the weekly chart, and it just started on the monthly chart. So this one's it's a youngin'. So I would say this one needs to consolidate around the apex a little further, or here's a devastating move I've seen from time to time when everybody's looking for this to go to the upside, right? Everybody's looking for the upside breakout. It will actually break to the downside first. So this is where having those limit orders out there, good till cancel, sitting at maybe 100, or maybe if you're really aggressive, sitting there at 80, may pay off, because usually what happens is it drops out of this pattern very quickly and then it explodes. Because the negativity, once again, the negativity gets built up, and this is what gets the institutional bulls step in right there. The whales, whatever you call them, step in right there, and all the shorts that get on board late get squeezed out to the upside. That's what drives that move. This could happen with Solana. People may lose their patience with Solana, try going for the early breakout, which will fail. More than likely it will fail. I just don't think it has the energy for it yet. Could be wrong though. Looking at the rest of the coins here, we have just a very mixed market, and we're seeing this on every Sunday, it seems like. When I do this analysis, we have very mixed markets where some of these are blowing up, some of these are just sort of languishing. You know, we just have these typical looking charts. They all look kind of the same right now, and they're just waiting for direction from the top two, as well as this Bitcoin ETF, to see what else drives the market. So far today, the winner in terms of the market leader today is OXT. OXT is breaking out today pretty strong on really good volume too. And this is a good example of something where a former downtrend is starting to reverse. So this is a weekly downtrend, and I tell you guys to avoid these things, but you can see right here, here's the weekly downtrend making lower highs and lower lows. And then all of a sudden, boom, we get the higher high. Here's the higher low. And then there's the confirmation at 50 cents of the breakout above there on big volume. Okay, so this one is starting to transition back into an uptrend, and this might be a very aggressive buy on the breakout above 50 cents. Guys, that's all I got for today. Everything is going well with the top two, the top 10 or so, and we just need patience and stick to your plan of looking to buy dips. When the dips occur, they will not feel good to enter, but that's the most effective and devastating strategy at this point, is buy dips on assets in a primary uptrend. Look for that weekly uptrend. Thanks for listening, folks. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.